Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Shauna. Let's get into this. So, hi guys. I hope all is well. We are in the middle of phasing through this series about being an atheist, or the attempts to learn more about religion and God, right? And I don't know if I said this before, but if you are attempting to learn something else, right? If you consider yourself religious or spiritual, you should also be looking into atheism. You may find something that will give you a better understanding as to why someone may be struggling with believing in God. Now, the issue that I have is that, we all go through life, and a lot of us experience things that are very traumatic, so traumatic that it slows us down in many areas of our lives, right? So if you can go through something that's so traumatic and be able to bounce back and be able to look back at your progress, you should be able to identify that there's something outside of yourself that is greater than you, right? Now, if you are spiritual or religious or conscious, whatever you want to consider yourself, if you are of the higher thinking crew, right? Think about the one thing that absolutely led to your awakening. Think about what happened that made you more grateful, more appreciative, and become closer. And not just become closer, but actually seek the Most High. Today, you may be much stronger in your faith than you were in the beginning of whatever that catalyst is, right? Let's just call the traumatic situation a catalyst, because it would be the thing that is responsible for kicking off you building this supreme relationship with the Most High, right? Think about how hard it was to get through the initial minutia. It was challenging. You wanted to give up. Now imagine never having a relationship with God, because people don't just, let's back this up a little bit. There has to be some type of foundation laid to be a believer or to not be, right? I mean, and it has to start young, because no one just grows up believing in God, having faith, or lack thereof, right? It doesn't just spring up on you out of nowhere. This comes from somewhere. So I know for me, like I said, we used to go to church. We went to church. So that was my foundation. I'm sorry, I had a little distraction, little moment. Now just think about, okay, what I was just saying was, go back to the situation, right, that happened to you, that led to the trauma, that ultimately led to your awakening, right? It was really hard for you to get through that initially, until you gradually learned, until you gradually healed, and you gradually build your relationship with the Most High. So, for me, I could say, obviously, if you're a believer or you're spiritual, you would be like, I don't see how people could not believe in God, right? Now, imagine going through that thing consistently. Something always happening. always feeling like you don't really have a relationship with God. And remember, I was just stating how we go through this basically like initiation period. And I mean, before the awakening, some foundation had to be laid. Like, yeah, that's what I was saying. There has to be some type of foundation for you to have the faith or for you to not have the faith. For me, my grandma had us in church, so it was really easy to continue on building the relationship with the Most High. When I experienced what I experienced, I realized that the relationship that was built in the beginning of my life, right, in the earlier years, was useful. Even at that point when I had realized that I was going through so much and there was nothing that a human being could do. Like, I had to go to God. Because when spiritual warfare is involved, unless you are spiritually connected to a person, there's nothing they can do to help you. I'm just trying to tell you. When it comes to warfare, this is not like regular everyday life. You have to be very careful. Demons can body jump. They can go through people and act out through people. And if you are not vibrating high enough, you can be used as a vessel for the devil, right? To attack people. Essentially, that's attacking God. Now, the point that I was getting at was that when you go through this, when you have this foundation laid for you, it opens the door to you building the relationship or not building the relationship. And the experiences that you have, your personality type, your environment, all of those things are contributing factors to how you're going to go about, building this relationship. Now, of course, we've talked about birth charts and we talked about how they're indicative of what may be going on, yada, 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 right? All of that stuff. But we're speaking in terms of like religion now. Like, X out the horoscopes for a second and let's just talk about like religion. Most of us don't really have a solid foundation until we ourselves seek guidance from the Most High and angels, so and our ancestors. So a lot of people, they don't really have the understanding that your relationship is based on you and the effort you put in. Like, yeah, God is going to, and I was sitting there, like, because a lot of times, like, I'm just like sitting in silence and I'm like talking to God, and I'm, like, I ask him to show me things, and I'm like, can you like tell me what I need to do? And sometimes he'll like send it through people. Sometimes it'll be in a song. Sometimes it'll be on the radio. Sometimes it could just be like a random conversation. Like, I'll be walking down the street and people will be passing me and I'll hear like confirmation. So if you pay attention, you can get everything you need, all the answers you need. But it's up to you to tap in and to believe. Your job is to believe. If you don't believe, it's not really gonna be useful, right? Your faith is what makes this thing stop or go, and that's all up to you. Now, another thing that I wanted to just say is that all of us have gifts, right? And there's multiple different things that go into that. Like, you can be gifted and you can be anointed. And the anointed is totally independent from the gifts. A lot of people think that it's the same, and it's not. Some people are just simply protected because they have praying grannies and warriors for ancestors, right? Some people are just strapped up like that. It depends on your bloodline. But then you have people who are anointed. They have this thing where a covenant was placed on them, between them, the Most High, and then them, the Most High, in their soul's mission, right? Then you have people that are just simply gifted. You know, all of us have intuition and instincts and these sensitive things that we can build on. Now, of course, you know, we discussed, you know, intentions and things like that. And I just wanted to mention this mid segment and in the middle of us phasing through the series, because this is two opposing ends of one spectrum. A lot of people think that God is just all light. God is not just all light. So, if God created us all, I would assume that it's safe to say the people who don't believe in God are like that because God doesn't want them to believe in him. He's closed their hearts and their minds. And maybe that could be my assumption because of Islam, right? Just reading and, you know, trying to learn, because this is something that if you're a Muslim, you would know. Like, at the end of the day, I mean, even if you are Christian, and I'm not going to go into the Abrahamic religion thing because everybody always says that. That's like typical, right? I'm not going to say that. But what I will say is that you have to invest in building the relationship. You have to invest on exercising your faith. It is your responsibility to constantly be seeking validation from the Most High. It is not any of our portion to please man. I mean, unless God told you to specifically do something with people, for people, evolving people, you know, that's different. And even then, he comes first in that, because you have to be guided in order to properly and effectively do what it is that he's telling you to do to begin with. So no matter what it is, the relationship with the Most High is always, like the first thing, is the priority. If you are an atheist, obviously this sounds like Mandarin to you. So I wouldn't really expect for you to understand, especially if you've been struggling for a long period of time with not having faith. Like it's one thing to have a relationship with God and then life happens and you're pulled apart, or you just, for whatever reason, is like you're now questioning God and what he's doing in your life and what's going on. Like, that's one thing. But to literally just never had believed in God, that's something totally different. To me, that's demonic possession. And again, if the Most High has placed that in you, on you, or around you, it's for a reason. Some people have spiritual gifts where they can see into the spirit world, and they can see when people have those demonic curses on them. And some people have the actual authority to cast out, to not only remove, because there's a difference between removing something and casting it out. You can bind something up, but if you don't cast it out, it's just there. Bind it wherever you ask for it to be binded. You can remove it, but if you don't cast it out, the energy can come back. And this is any kind of spirit, right? Some people have been blessed with the authority to see into the spirit world, where they could see the type of spirits that have been attacking people. They could pray those spirits out of people and off of bloodlines. They are well versed in religious texts, but they don't need them, right? So, and this goes back to just me talking about divination and just going into a lot of people telling me that I'm doing witchcraft because I am encouraging people to read multiple books. You are going to learn something from every book. Doing horoscopes and astrology is not the same as divination or witchcraft. We looked it up. We discussed it. If you don't believe me, look up the actual definition. Religion would be more of divination than anything. Astrology and astronomy were actually considered sciences, but they were studied by people who practice dark arts and psychics and things like that. So that's how they ended up just being put under one umbrella. I could see why a tarot card would be considered, like demonic or witchcraft or like voodoo or something like that. But astrology and astronomy is not. And like I said before, I'll say it again. How do I know that? Because even to today, everywhere in the world, Islam, right? If you know anything about Islam, you know that the month of Ramadan is determined by what? The sightings of what? The sightings of the moon, right? So what that means is this is the same thing. That's what astronomy is, tracking the movement of celestial bodies. That's what that is. And, for some reason, as time went on, we know some of the reasons, right? And you can always educate yourself on those reasons. Obviously, culture being one of the big ones, it has been considered a type of witchcraft. So yeah, today I didn't want to go into, because I'm gonna be real, I didn't really do any research or studying today, so I just kind of wanted to come in and just discuss basically this topic and just go into it a little bit more, because we have this misconception that people who don't believe in God are devil worshippers, and that's not true. Some people just don't know how to believe. They don't know where to start to build in a relationship. Some people need more proof. Some people need to see things. Some people believe in other things like aliens and stuff like that, right? So, but I'm gonna wrap this up. I love you guys. I hope you got some good rest today. I hope you will get some good rest tonight. Drink some water, eat some fruit, vegetables, and mind your business, and sip some tea because it's free. And I love y'all. I'm out. Peace.